Very good evening, my dear friends. We are coming to the last bit of our discussion on the banking part, that is the Reserve Bank of India. So we are going to discuss about the Reserve Bank of India, its functions, and the powers and control over other banks in the country as a central bank. These are all the things we are going to study in this particular session. I divide this into three parts. One is with regard to the general functions, and the other one is with regard to the demonetization, and the third one is the powers of the Reserve Bank of India. In the beginning, we will take up the functions of Reserve Bank of India and its concept. Basically, friends, Reserve Bank of India happens to be the central bank of the country. In short, it is called in abbreviation RBI. As a central bank of country, it discharges multifarious functions. Some of them happen to be monetary policy, currency issuing, forex management, working as bank of government and banker of banks, and it contributes a very vital part for the economic growth of the country. Then, the preamble of the Reserve Bank of India, as laid in the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. Actually, it was established in 1935 under the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. The preamble describes the main functions as to regulate the issue of banknotes and keeping of reserves with a view to securing monetary stability in India, and generally to operate the currency and credit system of the country to its advantage. The Reserve Bank of India, friends, has got massive powers to monitor and control the flow of currency in the country. Sections 20 to 45Y contain various provisions on the functioning of the Reserve Bank of India, dear friends. And then some of these provisions I would like to bring to your notice today in this session. The first one happens to be the Reserve Bank of India's first function happens to be it acts as banker to the government. This is the most important aspect. You can't have commercial transactions in the Reserve Bank of India. So it acts as the banker to government. So it acts as the agent, debt manager, advisor, banker to the central government, and maintains the government deposits and also collects and makes payments. Section 20 of the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 is very significant, where it provides that the bank shall undertake to accept monies for account of the central government and to make payments up to the amount standing to the credit of its account and to carry out the exchange, remittance and other banking operations, including management of public debt of the Union of India. Then, friends, I'm talking of the first function as banker to the government. Then the second one is that Section 21, the Reserve Bank of India has the right to transact government business in India. No private business, not for regular customers. Where under this provision, Section 21, the central government entrusts the bank with such conditions as agreed upon, with all the monies, remittance, exchange and banking transactions. Then deposit free of interest in all cash balances with the bank. The central government is empowered from carrying on money transactions at places where the bank has no branches or agencies, and the central government may hold at such places such balances as it may require. And the government of India shall entrust the bank on such conditions with management of public debt. Then any agreement made under the section shall be laid before the parliament. That is the most important aspect. It can't go out from the notice of the parliamentarians. Then section 21A. The first function, two sections I completed, and the third section, 21A. The RBI can transact government business on government business of state governments on agreement. The bank may, by an agreement with the government, undertake all its money's remittances, exchange the same thing. And then the management of public debt also. And of course, the agreement has to be laid before the parliament. Now, the second function. The Reserve Bank of India is the issuer of currency. No other agency in the country can issue currency. Only the Reserve Bank of India. So, the RBI is the sole and unique body to issue currency in this country. It issues and exchanges or destroys currency and also coins not fit for circulation. And while coins and 1 rupee notes are minted by the Government of India, of course, the Reserve Bank of India works as agent of Government of India for distributing and handling of coins. And RBI also works to prevent counterfeiting of currency by regularly upgrading security features of currency. Above 1 rupee, all the notes will be printed by the Reserve Bank of India. And then the Reserve Bank, in fact, for printing currency, the Reserve Bank of India has got 4 centers: Dewas, Nasik, Mysore, and Salboni. It is authorized to issue notes up to value of rupees 10,000. Of course, today the situation is different. Earlier I am talking of. And coin up to 1,000. However, today the situation is something different with the demonetization that has taken place. I am talking of in general the rule. It is a monetary authority which formulates, implements, and monitors the monetary policy of the country with an objective to maintain price stability and ensuring adequate flow of credit to productive sectors. Then comes section 22, which gives the Reserve Bank of India the sole right to issue banknotes. And under this provision, every banknote shall be a legal tender in India in payment or an account for the amount mentioned thereon and shall be guaranteed by the central government. And so by default, a banknote issued by the RBI commands the value mentioned on it for any transaction in India, since it is a legal tender guaranteed by the central government. This default setting can be changed, which is called technically demonetization, in different ways, which in fact I will deal with this demonetization in a separate episode because I want to cover it separately. That is pertaining to. But when you write an answer on functioning, this also could be included. Demonetization also could be included. Then, friends, actually the demonetization originally took place in 1946, then 78 and 2016. I want to go into these details at an appropriate time later on. Now, the third function of the Reserve Bank of India happens to be the Reserve Bank of India is the banker's bank. That it is the banker to commercial, cooperative, regional, rural banks in the country, and the relationship is established once the name of the bank is included in the Schedule 2, which is called a scheduled bank. And they are entitled to avail the facilities for refinance from RBI, subject to fulfillment of their obligations thereon, are provided under subsections 2, 3, 3A, 3B, and 4 to section 17 and 42 of the Reserve Bank of India Act. It is also a lender of last resort for all banks, in fact. Then, friends, The fourth function is that Reserve Bank of India is the supervisor and controlling authority. Controller, I can say, controlling authority, of course, over banks in India. That is under section 22. It is the licensing authority of banking companies. And then section 23 imposes restrictions on opening of new and transfer of existing place of business. It is the regulator and supervisor of the financial system of the country. The regulator of the banking system in the country happens to be Reserve Bank of India. Share market shares, SEBI. Company matters, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. This is how we will deal with the subject matter. Then the fifth one is controller of credit. The fifth function is that Reserve Bank of India is the controller of credit, and then it can instruct banks not to give loans to traders of certain commodities, like for example sugar, edible oils, etc., or which present speculations or hoarding of commodities using money book borrowed from banks, and it exercises control under section 21 of the Reserve Bank of India Act over the volume of credit. Then the sixth function is that it is the collection and furnishing of information, being, in fact, you can say it has got the control over collection and furnishing of information under section 45A to 45F, and it will disseminate it to the other banks. Friends, it is also the manager of foreign exchange. The Reserve Bank of India manages the foreign exchange management with an objective to facilitate external trade and payment and promote orderly development and maintenance of foreign exchange markets in India. So it has got a very wide range of functions which students can study under sections 20 to 45Y of the Reserve Bank of India Act. And then I have given a basic outline which the students can improve by studying further these particular provisions. So with this, friends, I conclude my discussion on the Reserve Bank of India, its functions, and then we will proceed further in our next lesson with regard to the demonetization. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you. Good day.